I got so much to say that putting it into a letter would be too long, so I made a video instead. And before you ask, yes, I'm reading from a letter, or a script as some people would call it. For those of you who watch my channel, you might be asking who my dad is. Um, well, you you see him. The picture here is him. That's my dad, Rob. For years, people have called me Bob, Robert, or Rob. I'm named after him, my dad. I got my personality from my dad. I got my heart from him. I got my voice. I even got a lot of my looks from him. So if you think I'm ugly, well, I mean, you see him. Jokes aside, my dad is one of the strongest men I ever met. As I've gotten older, I've kind of realized something. When you're a kid, you don't really see your parents as people. You see them as mom and dad. You assume they know everything. You assume they have all the answers, and you assume they're superheroes. They're perfect people. Then you grow up, and suddenly you realize they're uh, figuring things out as well, just like me and you and everyone else. You realize that before they were mom and dad, they were people. They had dreams, fears, goals, and bad days. And they also had moments where they didn't know what they were doing. But somehow, despite of all that, they still got up every day and kept going. Now with my dad, he grew up in a home where showing emotions wasn't exactly encouraged. It was a way different time, where men were basically expected to be men, to bottle your feelings and to deal with your problems on your own and not show weakness, just be strong all the time. Um, he struggled with anxiety for years without really getting the help he deserved, because at the time, anxiety was a very unknown thing. Um, I kind of relate to it, where I've spent parts of my life doing the exact same thing, where I would keep things to myself and not talk about what was bothering me and trying to carry everything alone, when I probably should have asked for help. Where, I mean, I sometimes still do, but most of the time I kind of don't. But despite all that, my dad built a life. He worked as a corrections officer in Lubbock County, Texas, where he saw things that most people should never really have to see. Things like that can change how a person looks at the world, but not really my dad. Later on, he left being a corrections officer because he had opened a bar, and at that bar he DJ'd and hosted karaoke, and he built something that had belonged to him. Every time that I think about it, I realize like how much courage that first off must have taken to have a business and to have a lot of uncertainty in it, whatever. Um, and it's just crazy. But I don't think I would be who I am today if it wasn't for him. My mom deserves credit too. She's always been there for me, and I love her a lot. But when it comes to personality, the way I think, and the way I react to things, the way I talk, and even the way I look, me and my dad are almost identical. Um, the older I get, the more I see pieces of him in myself. And sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's, annoying as fuck. But it's my dad. It's true. There are things I do now that make me stop and think, yep, that's definitely something dad would do. And I'm honestly proud of that. Uh, I would say that my dad has probably sacrificed more than I can probably ever understand. I would say he's probably spent sleepless nights worrying about me and probably stayed awake wondering where I was when I was younger. He probably imagined every worst case scenario possible whenever I was doing something stupid as a teenager. And trust me, I gave him plenty of reasons to worry. I'm also pretty sure there have been countless moments where he was completely fed up with me. And honestly, there are probably some moments like that today. But no matter what, he's just been there. At some point, my parents made the decision while they were in Texas to come back home to Newfoundland. One reason was because my grandfather became ill, like very ill. And doctors weren't sure how much time he had left. And another reason was because the world was different. 9/11 had happened. School shootings were becoming a more commonplace thing. Just the world felt less certain. So my parents basically said, fuck this, we're moving, we're going back home, where it was a lot safer. Not long after moving back home, they had my brother Steven. And Steven has been one of the biggest pains in my ass since the day he was born, and somehow he still managed to be one today. But again, jokes aside, something wasn't really right when he was younger, because he started getting joint pains and would cry. And my parents kept bringing him to doctors, and they kept asking questions, and over, it was just the same answer. It's just growing pains. But my dad wasn't really convinced. So he essentially asked them to test for anything. And eventually he was diagnosed with leukemia. I wasn't there for when he got diagnosed. I think I was probably in school or something. I can only imagine the feeling that hit my parents in the moment. I can't really depict what that would be. But as a 23-year-old man, I hope I never have cancer, and I hope I never have a child with cancer. No, I don't think any parent should really have to hear that. For years, my brother spent part or even all of his childhood in hospitals and medical facilities and whatnot. But through everything and every single moment, my dad was there. Every chemo treatment, feeding tube, whenever he got sick, every setback, every victory, every moment, he was there. I don't know how he did it, though. I don't know how he found the strength. I don't know how he carried that burden for so long, but he did. And that's something I've admired when it came to the strength and the grit, the determination of just being there. I think one thing I've never really told my dad is how much I watched him during those years. And I think at the time I was probably about 14 or 15, so I think kids notice more than adults think they do. And I mean, I did, and I'm sure now, I noticed exhaustion, the stress, the fear. But I mainly noticed how he put everyone else's needs before his own, even mine. At the time, I didn't fully understand what I was seeing, but now I do. I understood this a long time ago. I understood there was probably nights he went to bed terrified, that there were probably nights where he felt hopeless. There were probably nights where he didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring, but he never quit. He never stopped showing up, and that taught me something. Strength isn't about never being scared. Strength is continuing forward even when you are. With all of that happening, I was going through my own struggles. I was never medically diagnosed with depression, but I was carrying a lot. I spent a lot of time alone. Mom was working, Dad was at the hospital, and Stephen was sick. Everything revolved around making sure he survived, and rightfully so. But because of that, I grew up fast. I became man of the house. I cleaned, I did dishes, I took care of whatever needed to be done. I wasn't angry about it. I understood why things had to be that way. But if I'm being honest, there were times when I didn't really get to be a kid. There were times when I felt forgotten. There were times I felt alone. But I also understood that my family was doing everything they could. Whenever I visited the hospital, my dad would hug me, tell me he loved me and how proud he is, and thank me for helping around the house. And every single time, it would give me strength. It would make me feel seen, appreciated, proud. Those moments mattered more than he probably realizes. The older I got, the more I've realized that some of the things I took for granted growing up were actually sacrifices. The roof over my head, the food on the table, having somebody I could call when things went wrong, having someone in my corner, those things don't happen by accident. Somebody makes those things happen. For me, a lot of that was my dad. And the funny thing about good fathers is that they rarely ask for recognition. They don't keep score. They don't ask for praise. They don't expect applause. They just do what needs to be done. Looking back, there were probably hundreds of sacrifices my dad made that I'll never fully know about. Bills he paid without talking about them, stress he carried without showing it, fears he kept to himself, problems he solved before they ever became my problems. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video, because sometimes the people who deserve appreciation the most are the people who ask for it the least. Even now, at 23, I still go to my dad for advice: finances, taxes, insurance, relationships, life. He doesn't do things for me, he teaches me how to do them myself. He shows me the plan and teaches me how to work it. He even helped me learn how to manage anxiety, something he never really got help with when he was my age. That's something that has been one of the greatest gifts he ever gave me. I know that you're watching, Dad, because I know I'm probably going to show you this, but thank you. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for the sleepless nights. Thank you for every lesson. Thank you for every piece of advice. Thank you for every hug. Thank you for never giving up on my brother. Thank you for never giving up on me. Everything good in me has your fingerprints on it. The way I treat people and the way I care about others, the way I keep going when life gets hard, a lot of that came from you. And I know we haven't always agreed on everything. I know I've probably driven you absolutely insane at times. But if I grow into half the man you've been, I'll consider that a success. I love you. Happy Father's Day, Dad.